And thank you all for joining us today. Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be flanked by some incredible brands who I'm excited to get to meet. For those of you who don't know me, I'm JJ. I lead the marketing team at TapCart. I am going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves. I've asked a couple of other things of the panelists as well. We are going to try to lean in and get as specific around different performance metrics and impact as we can. And I've always found that a nice way to orient at the top end of these conversations is around remits or what we're responsible for. So that's how I've asked us to kick things off. I guess tell us a little bit about yourself, but within that, if you could tell us how your role is measured, or like what does success look like in your role at your brand? And Claire, we can just start with you.
Awesome. Hi guys, I'm Claire. I've been with Princess Polly for about 2 years, and I'm the e-commerce manager. My role is really to keep the site and apps running smoothly and as optimized as possible, kind of the middleman between the entire company and what is shown to our customers. So keeping things running smoothly, keeping our customers shopping and having the best journey possible, that's what I'm responsible for.
Hey everyone, I'm Kyle. I'm a director of growth at BYLT Basics. BYLT is a 9-figure men's and women's premium apparel line. As far as my day-to-day, responsible for all of our digital channels, so spend and budgeting behind there, and then our retention channels as well, so SMS, email, app. As far as what I'm KPI'd on, I guess director of growth is growth. So year-over-year rev, new customer acquisition, everything like that.
My name is Hans. I am the Director of Growth at BrüMate, a drinkware and coolers brand. As Director of Growth, I oversee, similar to Kyle, all the digital channels with a focus on new customer acquisition, but I think I do my best to straddle. I think growth is equal parts kind of product, customer experience, and marketing. You can't have good, quality, sustainable growth without a good, healthy mix of the three. So I try my best to jump between functions and help wherever the business needs it to help us grow, but ultimately my charge is new customer acquisition and ownership of our revenue numbers.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. As we lean into a conversation about mobile apps, obviously TapCart in the mobile app space, there are 3 questions that I've generally found kind of guide that. Why mobile app in general, just like why the channel, and I will touch on that a little bit. Why TapCart relative to custom build, why TapCart relative to other SaaS solutions, and why now, I think is an interesting one. Like the most common question that I'm probably faced with in the e-com community is like, how do we know when we're ready? And I think, like I have a POV on this, I have a bias obviously, but I think it's similar to exercise. I don't know that you're ever gonna feel perfectly ready, but there is some need to act one's way into feeling. I wanna share just a little bit of macro data, and then we're gonna lean into the brand stories. But when we look at Shopify as an ecosystem and the brands that are doing less than 1 million in total GMV, less than 1% of them are currently using mobile apps. When we look at brands that are over 1 million, about 5% of them are using mobile apps. That doubles to 10 when we get over 10 million. About 10% of merchants over 10 million have adopted mobile apps. About 1 in 3 when we get to 25, and it's over 6 in 10 when we get to 100. So a lot of people, I think, want to anchor around a revenue milestone, and I get that, I understand that, it makes sense. But I think one thing that we also need to understand and think about, and one of the things that I really admire about our panelists, is their connection to the market and their empathy with their customer. If we look at the adoption of customers, like keep in mind, over 6 out of 10, 100 million plus merchants have the biggest consumer footprints. Like they have the most customers, and they're shaping shopping expectations and driving affinity toward mobile apps. So even though we all share the same customers early on that journey in revenue cycle, may not be the thing to consider, right? Like, does the shopper have an affinity for a different type of experience? And that's what we're going to explore today against the backdrop of why now. I'd love to lean into like what the journey was like for each of your brands. I know that a couple of you like inherited TapCart So the pre-sale evaluation journey is a little different for each of us. Like, I'm going to start on that, Kyle, with you, because I know that you were a part of the committee that made the decision to move forward with TapCart. Like, why? Was there an opportunity that you were looking to capture? Was there a problem that you were looking to solve? Like, what was the impetus to explore App Channel in the first place?
Yeah, so Built was in a kind of a unique space where really the reason we looked to you guys was the technical side. So Built is fortunate to have a really strong return rate. We have your full closet. We can go head to toe. So the return rate and the LTV, the guy that is that Built guy stays in that lane pretty often. So we didn't feel like in our current setup we had a place to give that extremely loyal cohort a home. We're Shopify backend, but headless front end. So making any type of membership page or a membership login or a specialty page was pretty difficult. So really it was just going back and forth and saying, where do we give this loyal cohort a home where they can go and experience exclusive offers, exclusive content, exclusive product. And it just kept coming back to an app. And because we were Shopify backend, integrating with you guys was simple. And we kind of navigated that front end issue to where now we're able to provide our loyal cohort with a really nice looking home that is comparable to our site.
Awesome. Hans, do you have any connection to that beginning at BrüMate?
So I know the decision was made, like you're talking about 6 out of 10, what we'd consider really large brands owning an app to have that shopping service for their customers. BrüMate at the time, I think it was like late 2020, was kind of part of that group where we experienced massive growth, quickly catapulted above 9 figures. Okay, now the thing we have to do is invest in a mobile experience to like bring our, engage with our most loyal customers, bring them back, like all the reasons that you would do that. And I think that was valid at the time, but to your point of like, we're thinking, what are the reasons to get into this now? I'm thinking like changes to email deliverability, how oversaturated SMS has got. And I don't think so much anymore it's a decision of like, oh, what's the revenue milestone that I need to be at in order for an app to make sense for my brand? It's more like, how am I, hedging my bets against, the reliability of own channel communications. And like that creates an argument for brands, even pre-revenue, to talk about how an app is part of their strategy from day one, in a way that admittedly I don't think really made sense, years ago before a lot of this iOS 14, ATT, stuff started to crop up. But, I wasn't really involved in that decision, but we were, pretty early TapCart customer, I think, and have been incredibly happy, see what kind of value the channel brings for us. But it's been great.
That's awesome. Claire, what was your connection to the pre-sale?
Yeah, I think just speaking a little bit less on the technical side of things, but also more on the branding side. Princess Polly is so aligned with social media. When you think of our brand, you think of TikTok, you think of Instagram. So I think just from a brand perspective of how we present ourselves to our customers, having a sales channel that is so in line with the social media was huge for us.
That makes a lot of sense. What was it like to stand up? Like, what was implementation like? How long did you expect it to take? How long did it take? How hard did you expect it to be? How hard was it actually? And I know that you're going to recant that a little vicariously through a different team, but just like, what was the experience that they shared with you?
That it was very smooth. We didn't even really consider a custom build just because of resources, dev cost, and TapCart was just the smoothest avenue we could take, the least friction. It was up and running very easily, and in terms of day-to-day upkeep, it is so light, really, because it's integrated with Shopify. There's not much more that we have to do beyond what we generally do for our websites.
What was the implementation like at BYLT?
Yeah, for us it was, from an integration side, it was seamless. Being pure D2C, our website is obviously our baby. Every design aspect that goes into that is very well thought out and organized. And for us, a lot of the lift was the custom blocks and stuff to get it to look exactly like our site. The font, the menu breakouts, the PDPs, every single thing. From an integration side, if you don't have a lot of content lift, it was extremely seamless. Talking to our e-com guy, Ryan, today, I think it was, a month or two setup, even for us on the more complicated side. So, and we ran into some variant issues. We have a lot of SKUs, obviously, so that was tough on our side. But as far as the integration with you guys, it was simple, quick.
And I'll add to that. I inherited it, but we now have a dedicated design and merchandising resource for our mobile app, and so that we've made it complicated. We've made it an entire function for actually two people because we see so much value there. But if you're not a team like that, and why to stand up an app even pre-revenue, it's it doesn't have to be hard. It can be incredibly easy, from integration to Shopify to just getting started, getting a product catalog in there, and not building into a ton of custom blocks or whatever. It can be what you make it. It's more about how you use it for your brand that I think is the important part.
I think that's a great segue. Impact is where we wanted to spend the majority of our time today. What is the juice from the squeeze, Hans, from your vantage point?
I don't even know what day it is. Just last night, 2 nights ago, last night, we did a app exclusive product launch that we only promoted to our VIP Facebook group and said, hey guys, these products are for you. We did then, I think I was showing you a $200,000 in an hour through the app of just exclusive product only available there. And year to date, app revenue is a significant part of the business. We're up 73% year over year, just year to date. And a lot of that has to do with our strategy and decisions to really invest in exclusive experiences that live in the app that help get customers there, because we see a significantly higher AOV, 10+% improvement in AOV of app users, but then startlingly so LTV is so much better of app users. We're talking somewhere around 3 times better lifetime value, contribution lifetime value than our average web customer. And yes, some of it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Your most loyal customers are gonna want to engage with your brand like that and go to the app to purchase, but you're also creating this very frictionless experience for them to become loyal customers, to have a reason to spend more, to feel more bought into the brand. So, we are trying to lean into it as much as possible and trying to do that in a variety of ways, from getting people to download the app sooner in their life cycle to bringing them back more frequently with exclusive product drops and things,
Yeah, I mean, if you're a mature brand launching an app, you expect those KPIs to fall in line with your most loyal cohort. So if, you expect LTV, units per transaction, AOV, everything to be substantially higher than your site, which we definitely see with TapCart. The one, when we did digging, that was really interesting was new customers that had a first touch point being an app also outperformed site users where that was your first touch point. So for us to come in and see that if your first time seeing BYLT, your first engagement was BYLT, was in app, and you're still outperforming in those AOV, those conversion rates, those UPTs, everything, that is where we really started to be like, okay, let's start testing this on pre-sales and exclusive access and stuff, because once we saw the performance from a net new customer perspective, that definitely shifted our mindset a bit.
I sense you scratching at something that also comes up a lot, right? Am I actually creating more sand, or am I just moving it from one pile to another? What's our POV on that?
Yeah, that's something I hear a lot when talking to people about TapCart and just creating an app in general. And I think, like you said, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. Our most loyal customers are definitely going to have a higher conversion rate. But I think one thing to note for us was that when we got the app, we did not see a drop in conversion rate on our website. So although a lot of our loyal customers were moving over, they didn't all, and we also saw an uplift in conversion rate in our app from customers that didn't necessarily convert that well on our website. And I think that just speaks to the ease of use, the lack of friction without having to go to a website, the speed, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that in our numbers, we did not see a drop in our website when gaining the app. We just saw a gain in the app.
Can we put in perspective, I'm going to ask some revenue questions. generalize however is most appropriate. But as you think about revenue channel contributions, what does it look like? Like how does the app fit into that equation? Is it 5%? Is it 50%? Like what is the volume?
I want to hear what it is for Kyle, but for BrüMate at the moment it's about 10%, but we have ambitions to get that number 20+% within the year, because again we see how much more valuable those orders are in terms of AOV, in terms of actual contribution dollars too, because if we're bringing folks back through that channel, we're using push notifications to do so, we're using products to bring them back. That customer is freely reacquired, right? We're not paying $1 to Meta or our overlords at Google or whatever it be to bring those customers back. We have a much more efficient channel to do so. So it really helps our bottom line.
Yeah, I mean, outside of reducing obvious email and SMS costs, when we first launched, and I remember the stat perfectly, it was the first 2 weeks, it was like 15%, which was massive. Obviously, we're marketing it heavily during that period, but even in a period like now, when I was prepping for this, I checked it earlier this week, and it's consistently year to date still in that 12 to 14%, which is awesome. I mean, 12 to 14%, cutting messaging out of SMS and email, huge cost savings there. We obviously know the increase in conversion rate and AOV, so it's more profitable for top line as well. But yeah, it's consistently been in that 12 to 14%.
Polly is at about 20% of revenue from the app, and we consistently see a conversion rate in the app about 20% higher than our mobile site.
Yeah, it's the exact same for us.
Do you have a sense for CVR?
It's better. I need to get back to you.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I'm a little more focused on contribution dollars and more revenue associated metrics. At least that's the tear I've been on recently, so conversion rates gone a little to the wayside.
I think that's a good topic to transition out on. You and I were chatting a little bit about this, right? Like, not all revenue is created equally. What's your CFO's POV on that, and how does the app relate to that discussion?
I have a really good relationship with my CFO that I'm sure not all of you, well, I hope you all do at some point, but he's kind of I don't ask questions as long as like we're meeting our goals type of guy, because to your point, not all revenue is created equal, right? Our paid social acquisition is going to be the most inefficient source of new customer acquisition. But if we have really healthy word of mouth, freely acquired customers, organic social acquisition, influencers, largely product seeding, whatever, that's really high quality, high margin, revenue, the app included. It's next to free revenue to bring those customers back. It allows us to be so much more aggressive in paid social acquisition, to still blend, the outcome to whether it's an MER target, usually an MER target to what we need. And then the CFO doesn't ask questions, on a monthly cadence, quarterly cadence, we're meeting our goals, cash is in the bank, we see it and we feel it. And so we don't get into, we don't have to have that uncomfortable conversation of like, is this channel worth it? Is it contributing the way we want? It lets me do what, I think I'm good at in building the business, and having an app that's 10 or more % of revenue really lets you be that much more, say 10 or more % aggressive in paid social acquisition. That's not really high quality revenue, but absolutely essential to continue to grow and meet these top line numbers that we set for ourselves.
Yeah, it's allowed us to focus the paid media dollars on the actual going to net new. Like for us, when we get into a sale cadence and we have a big sale coming up, we'll use push to just pull a lot of that returning demand forward. Like, you got to get that message out there somewhere. If you're going to be paying for it on Insta or Facebook, then go for it. But if you can use a free lever to pull all that returning traffic in and make sure all your dollars are going to net new, that's the name of the game.
How much is too much? How much pulling of that can you actually do?
A lot.
No, give me a number. Like, so campaign drops, you do an incredible new short tan shorts for tattooed men, right?
And they look good, Nick.
Thank you. So that goes live. And how many pushes can I send in a day to where I'm going like, dude, stop push notificationing me?
Oh, the quantity of
yeah.
push. No, I mean, we typically don't do more than 1 or 2 in a day. I mean, 1 or 2 in a day to just kick off a sale for that loyal cohort, like the guys that have the app, they're going to get that and go. So we can normally see like just when that diminishing starts to fall, and then that kind of decides when our dollars start going.
I know we'll talk about this a little bit more later, but not just specifically to the app, but like we would put the app in a category of retention or loyalty. Like, it hits this weird bucket of all, right? What is the communication, and this might be a question for all three to you guys to end upon, to get them to get it, to get them to download it, to get them to use it? Like, what is that indoctrination period that you actually push it? Is it through the welcome? Is it through the post-purchase? When do you bring this up?
Through our Facebook VIP group.
Only?
That's what we're working on right now, because that's what we've mapped out as like the most efficient, social proof driven vehicle to get folks into the app. But it does start, unfortunately, with an email flow that says, hey, thank you for purchasing from BrüMate. Welcome to the Brew Crew. Please join our Facebook VIP group,
Did you
which
come
we
up
do
with Brew Crew?
incentivize. No, I didn't. I wish.
That's good.
But like we incentivize that with loyalty points too. Like additionally, there's reason to get into that Facebook VIP group. But then all of our mods and our founder, Dylan, their main charge in that Facebook VIP group is get 1x purchasers that just joined to download the app, because that time to purchase to shrinks exponentially versus just your standard welcome series or SMS or whatever.
That's the nugget. Go. What you got? Come on, you got something like that?
You can count on Hans. That's a better answer than me.
I think Poly is kind of a unique setting in that a lot of our customers naturally migrated over to the app. There wasn't a huge, we actually more recently just started pushing the app on our mobile site, order confirmation page, email, SMS, but we saw a lot of our customers just naturally move to the app because it's just a simple, easy sales channel.
Did the TapCart team give you the goods in terms of playbooks to drive downloads and maximize adoption? And we'll do a talk on that next time, Nick.
I think that's really good.
The great question. Thank you for that. Very lastly, wanted to draw everybody's attention to the Tappy Awards. All three of these brands have been nominated in different categories. So wanted to give them a round of applause, not only for great content, but also for that. Also wanted to mention that Mel and her compadre Mel at Princess Polly have also been nominated for Untapped Voice of the Year inside our community, which is a really cool way to connect via Slack with operators like this. And Kyle has a talk with Postscript right now that I think is going to be incredible. But Hans and Mel are going to be hanging out at the TapCart booth just outside. So please feel free to stop by and ask them any questions about their experience that you'd like. But thank you all for having us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.